We got a couple of podcasts to take a look at today. You heard the great ad a little bit earlier that who are these podcasts at the Magic Bag, September the 15th. Karl, how you doing?
What's happening, Drew and the gang?
You got some tickets left?
We do, but there's not a lot left right now, so they will go quickly.
Okay. Yeah, because they turned people away at the door last time, which I don't think I've ever seen them do that. Actually, just a couple times. But
WATPlive.com is where you can get tickets. Guys, do I look good in my basement today?
Yes.
I don't know. It looks like there's something up with it. I don't know what it is.
What's going on?
Yeah, I think it looks pretty good.
I was going to say, it looks like Karl just took a shower. Is your hair wet?
No, that's
I'm
not
talking
what
about
it
the
is.
flickering over your, what is that, your right shoulder, your left shoulder?
Yeah, maybe I don't have the lighting exactly right for my green screen, but I'm working on it.
Wait, is that the...
Oh, he's in this new
That's good.
studio, isn't he? And he's using his old background.
Good, though. It looks
Oh, I see. Whoa.
I'm at my Florida studios today, but I recreated my entire studio. I had to duplicate all the artwork and all of everything. Took a lot of work.
It looks good.
Thanks, buddy.
I know Stuttering John made a lot of fun of your wood paneling. He suggested it was the only reason that he doesn't think you're gay is because you have wood paneling in your basement.
You're not allowed to have wood paneling past, I guess, 1987, according to Stuttering John. He's got me there.
So you're in Florida, and did you get basically the same equipment, or did you upgrade the studio? What did you do?
Well, this is my RE20 that I used to use in my studio. I upgraded those to the SFBs. So other than that, though, it's all the same shit that I always use when I do you guys' show.
Okay. Well, today...
Hopefully I sound okay, because I have to tell you, I got the fastest internet I could possibly get in this location that I'm at, and I did the creep off yesterday, and I was still freezing up and stuff, so I bought an Ethernet cable today. I'm hardwired into the internet. I should be good to go.
You sound fine right now.
Mm-hmm.
And
Excellent.
yesterday, Karl asked me, any podcast you want to talk about tomorrow? And I had just been listening to the rise and fall of Opie and Anthony. It's called Shock Jocks, the rise and fall of Opie and Anthony. And it was actually a pretty good podcast. So I said, no, we don't want to do that. And so I started looking up celebrity podcasts today, and I found a bunch of them. And Karl, you picked from the list I gave you. You'd already done a few of them anyway, but what were the ones you chose? Brandi Glanville?
Yeah, so Dakota Johnson did a show called The Left Ear, which I want to feature, and then Brandi Glanville Unfiltered was another one you found. Hey, I want to, real quick though, since you brought up the rise and fall of the Shock Jocks podcast, have you guys seen the Vice, whatever it is?
The 2000s?
I did.
Brandon has, yeah.
I did watch it.
I watched quite a bit of it. Stuttering John is all over it, and he is so in love with himself.
The entire second episode pissed me off because it seems like they were just going based on what Stuttering John gave them off the internet.
That's what pissed me off.
Yeah, for some reason they were using Stuttering John and that host of that podcast to inform them of all the information about Opie and Anthony. So when they got into Opie and Anthony, they pretty much declared that Opie and Anthony are both broken people who can't do anything right, and Howard Stern is still on top of the world. So I was like, all right, well, that's not true. Anthony... They don't mention that Anthony created his own network. It's still going strong. He's doing very, very well. Instead, they focus in on his arrest, and they focus in on this tweet that he put out about Stuttering John's trans son.
I can't believe John gave
it's
him
just like,
this
what does that have to do
tweet.
with anything?
What? I didn't see that part.
That's how it ended the show. The second part of the series, that's how it ends. Is Stuttering John going, and then he was goofing on my trans kid. And they actually post the tweet up on the screen. So I'm like, so John obviously gave that to him.
Yes.
He's all proud of himself. But if he really was that upset about him exposing his child or talking about his kid, he wouldn't have given it to Vice to show on national television.
Of course. Yeah, now everyone's seen it.
Right. He's a
Oh my
hypocrite.
God. He is such a tattletale. I mean, if he's not tattletaling on you for copyright, or he's constantly telling on people. Didn't he call the police on Elisa Jordana?
He threatened to call the police on them. He did call the police on Chad Zumach for putting out a tweet.
He called the Rochester police on you too, didn't he?
He claims that he called the Rochester police on me. I don't know if that's true or not, but he's still, I don't know. He should just say I was joking. Instead, he's like, no, I really did. I was like, why?
Yeah, and he said, oh, and the guy knew me, of course, because he was a Howard Stern fan. So
Jesus.
Stuttering John, is that you? Now, Elisa Jordana, he had invited her, I think, and she was going to talk about live streaming, and then she shows up at his house, and John's at the bar. He's not at his house. She's driven 2.5 hours. And so how did the police end up? What was that all about? Why would he threaten to call the police?
this is the craziest thing. So they meet up at this bar that he goes to. I was invited to hang out with him there 2 days ago. I didn't go. But he goes to this place, Stevie Tomatoes. So Elisa and her friends show up there, and they come in, and they are live streaming. That's what they do. So they get their phones out. The people are super chatting them, and so that triggers music that they play, and they're causing a commotion. So immediately they go outside, and John's like, you can't be doing that stuff in the bar. Now, the whole point of this, the reason why they set this whole thing up was to teach John how to do this, which would be great for him. He could make a lot of money.
Absolutely.
People want to watch John and it just running daily routine, just doing daily tasks. People would love watching that.
I agree. There's nothing I would rather see than John going to Radio Shack and interacting with the clerk. Just something stupid like that would be enjoyable.
We were even joking about just filming himself passing out on the couch at 9:30 at night. Like, people would watch that for hours and just give him money.
Yeah, just paying attention to his labored breathing.
Oh, no, and also the super chats coming in and waking him up periodically.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. Like, maybe if you give him $30 or more, it's a louder bell, and so it wakes him up. He makes so much money doing that. So the whole point was Elisa Jordana was going to teach him how to do that, and he agreed to it. And then as soon as she got there, he started treating it like a date. He's like, turn off the phone. Let's have a drink. Let's have a cocktail. Let's hang out. She's like, oh, that's not what this is. So anyway, so they go their separate ways.
And Elisa, I should mention, Elisa brought a friend because Elisa never meets John without a friend.
Right. And she cleared that with him ahead of time. So she didn't surprise him with that. He knew that was happening. So anyway, so then he goes to, like, he said he goes to a buddy's house to play pool. And they go to his house because they were supposed to spend the night at his house. He agreed to let them spend the night. Right. And this is the funny thing, too, because John just bought a new house. So he goes, you guys can sleep in my bed. I'll sleep on the air mattress. He's got a 3-bedroom house. He only owns 1 bed.
Wait, he's been there for like a month, hasn't he?
He's been there he moved in there months ago.
And he still is on an air mattress if it's a guest?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
That's the mother when she comes here.
So
she shows up at his house hoping to, like, get in because that was the whole plan.
Yeah.
And then he thinks that she's doxing him or something. He thinks that she's filming the front of his house and everyone's going to figure out where he lives. Meanwhile, he doxed himself on his own live stream because he was showing off his Zillow listing to show how cool his new house is. And it showed its address for a good, 3.5 minutes around the screen. You can see his entire life.
Oh, my God. John. So was Elisa, she wasn't even live streaming when she was there. She just wanted to go in and go fall asleep, right?
She was live streaming, but the camera was pointed at her, which is what you do when you're live streaming.
Right.
So there's his driveway going, where's John? Why isn't he here? So he calls her and threatens to call the police on them if they don't leave. So then they had to go get a hotel room, and it was a debacle. And only the way Stuttering John could pull off.
Yeah, I got the impression that she had to get a nice hotel room because if something reasonable wasn't available. So I think she said John owes her $735 for the hotel room for her and her friend and for meals and whatnot, which, of course, he will not pay her, will he?
Well, she had it all itemized, and she put out a tweet saying how much John owes her. And so John was going up on his show going, I can't believe she thinks I'm going to pay her money. I'm not going to. And then I happened to pop on his show the other day because he was talking to Tukey and Cardiff and Obnoxious John. So they sent me the link, and I popped on there. And he's like, can you believe Elisa thinks I'm going to pay this? I go, she doesn't think that, John. She likes attention. This got her a lot of attention. You're talking about it. She tried to get him to go out to where she is in West Palm Beach this past weekend. And she's like, I'll pay for your bus fare if you come out here because he doesn't have a car. And he won't do it, unfortunately.
Why did he not let her in his house to sleep over like he said he would?
That's a great question. The only thing I can think is that he realized how embarrassing his house is.
I forgot to clean.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense.
He doesn't even have any light fixtures set up. So he's very gray when he broadcasts from Florida.
Yeah.
And he says, so like, well, I don't have my lighting set up yet. That's one of the first things you do when you move into a house. You buy some light fixtures.
Karl did a show on Stuttering John's YouTube channel. They did a second show where they debated, and it was hilarious because by the end of the show, not only was he kept getting interrupted by pizza deliveries and stuff, but by the end of it, he's completely pitch black because as the sun sets, there goes his lighting.
He had a green screen behind him, and because it got darker and darker, his skin color and his green screen were the same color gray by the end.
Oh, John, he's just
incredible.
He's not an adult yet, is he?
He's an idiot.
Come on, John.
Definitely digress, and he wasn't that going that well to begin with. But anyway, my point is that guy who made that Shock Jock podcast, and I also enjoyed. I reached out to him back when it came out to try to get him on WATP. He comes on there and is just blasting both Opie and Anthony, and I thought it was kind of funny. He was just like, and now Opie's broadcasting for 200 people on YouTube. I was like, okay, that's kind of funny. But they were acting like Anthony Cumia is like this crazy racist that nobody likes anymore, and he's got nothing going on. It's like, I mean, you could call out Anthony for a lot of things, but he does still own a media company that does very well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, when he puts something on YouTube, it can have 150,000 views.
Yeah, because he's very talented. And of those three guys, Howard, Opie, and Anthony, they make it seem like Howard's on top of the world. It's like, I dare anyone to watch any of those three shows. Which one's going to be entertaining? Howard is unlistenable. Opie's unwatchable. Anthony's still putting on a good show.
No, Anthony, he still makes me laugh, and he can be by himself. Actually, I almost prefer him by himself to a room full of people because I think he's more focused, but he's still funny as hell. Anyway, let's move on. Let's get to our podcast today. Who are you starting with?
Okay, let's start with the left ear with Dakota Johnson. Now, Drew, when you were texting me about Dakota Johnson, do you want to explain what makes her famous?
Well, I was intrigued by her because she was created by Don Johnson's Crank. She came out of Melanie Griffith, so it was a combination of Don Johnson's Crank and Melanie Griffith at her peak. She's been in, The Social Network and 50 Shades of Grey. So, I don't know, she's an very attractive young woman made in a very unique way. And I just thought, I just thought there'd be some things to make fun of in this podcast, to be honest.
When you texted me that verbatim, I'm like, okay, I guess I got to check out this podcast. He's making a lot of good points.
Was it worth breaking down?
Oh my gosh, is it?
Oh, good, good.
This show pod faded back in 2019. I think it lasted
Excellent.
6 or 8 episodes.
Perfect.
Excellent.
Perfect.
It did not work out well. So my track number 1, listen to the wording on this. It doesn't even make sense.
The voicemails you are about to hear contain intense and sometimes emotionally challenging material. Listeners are encouraged to attend to their own well-being in the service of engaging bravely and honestly with these stories.
Huh?
What in the hell are you talking about?
It's a trigger alert.
Oh, Jesus.
Engage.
Mark, you are encouraged to attend your own well-being in the service of engaging bravely and honestly with these stories.
In other words, don't be
sense.
soft. Don't be a fucking pussy when we talk about this stuff.
I don't know how to engage honestly in a podcast. I'm not even sure what that means.
I don't understand. What is going on with all this mental health business? We are not unaware of mental health.
Well, it finally hit me the other day. I'm like, can we stop with there's so many trigger alerts before shows now, and documentaries especially, that they just go through everybody. So can we stop doing it?
Yeah, right. No, you're right.
Everyone starts with one now, so I don't know.
I'm starting to feel that I'm part of some really inferior, weak, soft species, whereas I didn't used to feel that way.
Hey, guys, Bambi Moms dies, all right? Let's all get over it and move on. There's a story to be told here.
Amen.
All right, so the whole premise of this show, or I should say the format of the show, is people with trauma call in under the voicemail number and leave their trauma.
What?
So it's pretty much just
That's
trauma.
how they engage with voicemail.
Why?
So the reason why a listener would listen to this is just for trauma porn. You just want to hear about people's shitty lives.
This is an actress who does really well, who was made by Don Johnson's Crank. What the fuck?
Yeah, tell us stories about your childhood and how messed up it was because you saw your dad nude in that Crank.
Let's listen to more bullshit before we get into the actual voicemails. My track number 2.
Welcome to the Left Ear Podcast. Before we begin, I wonder if you would be willing to listen from your heart. Can you take what you know and believe and represent and gently set it aside? Can you be a neutral and safe place for these voices to be heard?
That makes less sense than the first cut.
Yeah. So here's the translation. When he says listen with your heart, you're going to hear some real bullshit. Please don't call us on it. Right? Because what else could that mean? Don't be logical about any of this. Okay.
What does left ear mean? The name of the podcast. Do we know what that even means?
Left ear. I have no idea.
Okay. I thought you were going to say something profound there.
No idea what any of this means. Honestly, everything that Dakota says on the show, and it's not a lot, makes zero sense, including track number 3. She goes on with this bullshit.
When you listen to a poem, you don't listen with logic. You listen with your entire being. You let it find its place in you. Here, I wonder if you can attempt poetic listening.
Would you just talk to us, for Christ's sake?
But what does that have to do with hearing someone's traumatic stories? Poetic listening, listening to a poem with your whole being? What does any of this mean?
It's some sort of
New Age.
superiority complex, I think, suggesting that she's on a level that us mere mortals are not, I suspect.
I honestly got deja vu, Drew, when I was listening to this. I had to go in and Google all of my websites and see, like, have I covered this show before? Because I swear to God, this sounds like every show we talk about lately on the show. It's nuts.
It is weird, and I don't believe any of these people really give a shit about mental health. I think they just have a publicist who says, hey, everybody's making a little money podcasting, let's get one out there.
Well, there's nothing hotter than therapy speak now,
Oh, yeah.
right? I mean, it's just everywhere where people talk like what they think a therapist would say. It's ridiculous.
But it seems like it's all manipulation.
Phony.
It's fake.
Celebrities are morons. They're not going to go on and give you a history lesson or talk about accounting practices. They don't fucking know anything. So, of course, they're going to talk about your feelings and listening with your poetic heart, whatever the fuck she's talking about. Like, track number 4, she's going to thank both the listener and the speakers here.
Great.
To the listener, thank you for being here. To the speaker, we hear you, we witness you.
Are you out of your mind?
That doesn't mean anything. We witness you? What does that mean?
I mean, a speaker, just by definition, you do hear them.
Why do you talk that way? Seriously, what are you talking about?
God, wouldn't you love her to sit down and kind of answer these questions? Like, oh, can
Yes.
you explain what you're saying right now? Because I don't, like Karl said, I don't think she knows.
I think she explained
You'd
it
have
by
more
pod
mumbo
fading.
jumbo to answer it, I bet. She would come up with some fucking nonsense.
You're right. Yeah, and be annoyed that I asked.
The true explanation, though, is the quick pod fade.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's the funny thing, too, because there was a company behind this that she was partnered with. And so I think all these companies think, all right, as long as we get a celebrity on, we talk about mental health, we'll get a huge audience. I just don't think there's a big audience for this. I think it's annoying.
It's easy.
entertaining.
It's overdone, too.
It's an easy way to get a celebrity, I guess, to do it. You know, like,
Yeah.
hey, you're helping people. I mean, look at Meghan and Harry, right? That's their whole being now.
Well, then to try and act like you're an expert on mental health, does Dakota Johnson really an expert on mental health? No.
Wait, that's a good point. Why are the therapists up in arms that
They
their
should
job
be.
has been co-opted by celebrities?
By Meghan Markle and Dakota Johnson.
They should be livid about
Dak
it.
Shepard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is Dax fading, by the way? I don't hear much about Dax lately.
He cashed in. He's that show is still going on. He's just
Spotify
got a
exclusive, though, so that
big-ass
probably has
contract.
wiped out a lot of his audience. I just don't hear. People talked about him all the time. Oh, my God, his podcast is so big. But first of all, I don't think it is as big as it used to be, and I just don't hear about it. I don't know why.
It's no smart list, that's for sure.
No, it's
No,
not.
seriously, I think that the other celebrities got in on it after Dax did.
Yeah.
And they're better at it, and people are more interested in them because Dax is a full-time podcaster now, so he's not that interesting anymore as compared to movie stars and TV celebrities, I guess.
Well, it tells you a lot when somebody like Dax has Prince Charles, or not Prince Charles,
Harry.
Prince Harry on.
Not a Prince Harry.
It tells you what an ass kisser he has to be.
Yeah. No, that's Trudy shit right there. She could be the audience of those shows.
She does like Smartless.
That's
I know.
right. That's right. She does.
I know what kind of show she
That's
listens
not.
to. All right.
It's not a bad show. It could be better.
Let's let the trauma porn begin. We're gonna get into the voicemail, starting with my track number 5.
But nobody cared about my feelings. Nobody cared about what I went through in the years of therapy I still have to go through because of what she did to me. Nobody cares about when she was hating and beating on me. Nobody cares about when she was choking me for years. And we shared a room for years and nobody knew. But I'm no longer silent.
Can I take a wild guess?
Yeah.
I'm going to guess that Dakota Johnson cares.
Well, she never even comments on any of these. It just goes from voicemail to voicemail to voicemail, and then she comes back at the very end.
What?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
Oh, wow.
it's literally just trauma porn.
It is trauma
And
porn.
I just have to say, if someone calls into a voicemail number and says nobody cares about what I went through, get better friends.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you. I don't care because I don't know who the fuck you are.
Yeah, why am I supposed to? Give me a reason to care. All I hear is you whining about it.
Well, the fact that she has to call Dakota Johnson show to tell her about it makes me think that maybe she's been saying this so many people are just like, okay, move on. I get it. I'm sorry. It sucks.
I wonder if they even get the calls. You suppose these could be stunt calls?
Rob, you got to think it would be because how do you even start a show like this?
Yeah, I mean, the way it pod faded, it couldn't have had many listeners.
Okay, so that's what I was talking about. When you were saying, or when I was talking about the fact that you got to listen with your heart and, the way you listen to a poem. So I think it's all bullshit. If you skip to my track number 7, this is got to be made up.
The worst part of it is I didn't tell anyone.
I'm sorry.
Besides,
I should set this up better, Mark.
Yep.
So I want to hear the rest of that so badly. What a tease that was.
I'm sorry. Right before this, she talks about when she was raped when she was 14 years old. And the only person she told about it was her best friend, a guy who then got into a fight with the rapist.
What a fun story.
So when I was 16, I had a boyfriend who was 20. And I went over to his house and slept there. And
that was it.
Right, could use pick up the energy a little bit there. Let's see.
So apparently, the rapist then shot and killed her friend. And I'm like,
What?
I'm not buying this at all. I can't even listen to this one with my heart. I'm calling bullshit on it completely.
Well, you'd think there'd be a news story about it or a court filing about it.
Well, yeah.
You would think so, yes.
No, you could never match something like that up because it's a random caller. The callers don't give their full names, do they?
No, there's nothing going on.
No, this is bull. It's just, these are stunt calls. These are acting friends. Can you call in some trauma to my show?
It's like War of the Roses type shit. We're just like, I think my boyfriend's cheating on me. Okay.
Good call.
Not buying it. So, finally, after we listen to all these crazy stories that are nonsensical, my track number 8, Dakota comes on and gives her version of the Jerry Springer final thoughts. Kind of.
Wait, did we want to?
Except it's probably less real than Jerry's final thoughts.
Karl, did you want to play number 7? No.
Oh, that was the one I wanted you to play just now. That's why probably it didn't make sense. Play 7. This is that crazy story.
The worst part of it is I didn't tell anyone besides one male best friend of mine who then ran into the same person who had raped me and confronted him about it until they were actually fighting, physically fighting, and then the person who raped me shot my best friend and he died.
I feel like the quality.
And he died.
The quality's too good for it to be a real call.
Well, they say that they pitch the voices, they modulate the voices out so that no one will be found. It's
bullshit.
Like, no one's listening to this show. No one's going to be sitting there going, oh my gosh, she's talking about me. I was the one who raped that woman and then shot her friend.
Bullshit.
I'm going to go find her. She shouldn't be talking about that.
So this is Dakota's final thoughts now?
All right, here's her final thoughts, yeah.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for your time. And to the speaker, thank you for your bravery. We hear you. We witness you. It's hard to not feel responsible for saving the world after hearing these stories. But just by listening with your heart, you save someone even just a little bit.
That's retarded.
Wait, what?
Wait, she does no work on this show. She does that ridiculous open. She has her final thought, which is, I now that I've heard it, is less real than Jerry Springer's final thought. And then they have all the calls in the middle. There's no work involved. None.
Drew, how do you save someone a little bit? I've never saved someone a little bit before.
She's reading a script in the open and the end. She probably did that once in 5 minutes, and then they just put the calls together on the different shows, right?
I would imagine, yes. And could you imagine? That'd be the worst firefighter in the world. Yeah, I saved your cat a little bit. Not great.
I love the way too loud ethereal music behind it.
Oh, my God.
When the phone calls have nothing.
And that's between every phone call, too. They play that music.
What?
It's almost like they're trying to put you to sleep or something in between these horrific stories people are telling.
Oh,
Wow.
That's awful.
What a
So then at
horrible
the end,
idea.
they thank us for listening yet again. This is the fourth time they thanked us for listening to the show. And I was all ready for them to say, if you've been the victim of sexual assault, call our number.
Here's a phone
But
number.
they do give out the National Sexual Assault Hotline. So at least they did that.
Oh, okay. Thanks. Thank God. They could almost.
Once again, every show begins with the trigger warning. Every show ends with the phone number for if you're feeling this way, call this number.
I know, and it does just go through you when every show has it. What's the point?
Yeah.
You should have it memorized by now.
All right, let's lighten up the mood a little bit. Let's move on. Do you guys know who Brandi Glanville is?
Yes.
Unfortunately, yeah.
The housewife. What was she before she was a housewife? Was she an actress?
She was a model, but I bet you didn't know this. She's also an author. She wrote 2 books. One is called Drinking and Tweeting, and the second one was called Drinking and Dating. I guess this girl likes to drink.
I think she's an alcoholic. Jeez.
How fun.
She used to be really hot back in the day. I don't know how she looks
thinks
now.
Still is. She thinks she's
Yeah,
still
I'm
hot.
sure she thinks she
In
is.
fact, play my track number 9 because her show starts with a disclaimer, a little bit different version than what we just heard. But this
Hey
is kinda
guys,
fun.
so I just want to do a little disclaimer for this podcast. I have been going through anaphylactic allergies and I'm having a hard time opening my mouth and talking and swallowing and breathing, but I did not want to miss this podcast. I did get another steroid shot yesterday. My mouth still does not want to open, not even for anything really fun, if you know what I mean. But enjoy, and yeah, so that's all I can say.
Was that a blowjob joke?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's talking about giving oral sex.
Wait, F,
Here's
with
the
all
thing.
that stuff going on medically, does anybody really want oral sex from her?
No, this is the thing about chicks who used to be hot. They still think they're hot. It's very sad. Someone needs to tell them, you're no longer hot. I don't know the exact day it happened. Hey, Britney Spears, I don't know what day it happened. You're not hot anymore. Sorry.
Isn't anaphylactic allergy redundant too? Isn't that kind of?
I don't think she had an allergy. I think she had so many shots and like lip injections
Oh, of
and
course.
stuff like that I just can't move my
can't
mouth.
open her
today.
mouth.
I can't move it.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've never heard that as a side effect. Can't open mouth.
All right, so she has a guest on her show. This just came out yesterday. She has Geraldine Moreno, who starred with her on the hit show The Traitors, a reality game show. You guys familiar with The Traitors?
Oh yeah.
of course.
Every
Don't
episode.
remember it.
Well, I'm surprised to hear that because check out track number 10. It's a pretty big deal.
But Traders got nominated for an Emmy, so we're officially
Local?
Emmy nominees.
That's so cool. I'm like, what in the Peacock TV is going on?
Right?
Is going on?
Yes, we got it, and it was for Best Cast.
Yes.
So it was actually all of us. Do you know what I mean? It was like
Yeah.
everyone together.
I gotta imagine there's a million caveats. It's got to be best streaming cast. In one localized area
Filmed in
Reality game show. Yeah, category.
on the Peacock network specifically.
I didn't know there were reality game shows. What's the difference between a game show and a reality game
Redundant,
show?
Yeah. Again.
So like Big Brother or Amazing Race, it's similar to that.
Oh,
Where you
Oh,
have-
okay.
okay. I didn't think that was a game show.
That's the category. I looked it up. That's what they call it, a reality game show.
All right.
So
Thanks for doing your homework, Carl.
I always do my homework, Drew.
I know you do.
So
I know you do.
I thought that was funny. She goes, "We have an Emmy. We're Emmy nominated for Best Cast, which means everyone.
all of us.
What part of that's confusing to you? Did Brandi go me? Just no. It's the whole cast, not just you. I can imagine her talking to her agent about it. They're like, no. It is very exciting. Trust me. You should be excited.
But it's less
actually
exciting
everyone.
when it's the whole cast because that means everybody won it and you're not as special.
So, the woman Geraldine Moreno, you probably never heard of her, and that's because she's what we call a civilian. So this show has celebrities and what they call civilians, and they all work together, and I guess they vote people off and whatever happens. So they promise in the description of this episode, which is why I was very excited about it, they are going to spill the tea. And listen, I don't know about you guys, but I love some good tea spilling. I'm listening to a podcast. My
then when
track number
people-
11.
Oh, let me back it up. Hang on. All right.
But then what people don't know is Geraldine was one of the replacements.
Yes. Okay, we need to talk about this. We didn't get to talk about this even in the reunion.
No one knows.
Nobody knows.
So this is the tea, guys.
This is the tea. So I was a replacement. You guys were already shooting.
Yes, but just gonna back it up so they know what, like, I went through.
Okay.
So then to have you come on. So,
Okay.
I like that Brandi goes, all right, I'm the celebrity here, though. Let me tell my story first. And then we can get into that. So I don't know who could possibly care about this, but they're so excited to explain to us that this woman, Brandi, so all these contestants were sent over to Scotland and they had to stay in this house. This was around the time that COVID was still a thing. So they had to quarantine in their rooms for 2 weeks. And they didn't have any access to anything. They were just quarantined in these rooms. And Brandi didn't realize she wasn't actually a contestant. And so the day that shooting's supposed to start, they go into a room, 6:45 a.m., and they say, sorry, you're not on the show. Oh. And this is devastating to her. But lucky for her, one of the guys on the show got COVID. And so she got to be the person who would fill in. Now, who could possibly care about this? I have no idea, but they're very excited to tell us the story, which is my track number 12.
wait, so what? It wasn't in your contract that you might not make it to air.
They were like, you're close, but we still don't know if you are.
But we're saying you went over there not knowing any of that.
No, I didn't.
That is wild.
It is wild.
Free trip, man.
My translation on that is Brandi's going, are you stupid? You signed a contract to be on a TV show that didn't guarantee you were going to be on the TV show, and you hung out in your room for 2 weeks waiting for nothing to happen? Why would you do that?
That's pretty amazing. I mean, that's a pretty major tool that does that.
Yes, and I think that's kind of the point where I feel like Brandi loses respect for her more and more as they have this conversation about this. I love this. It's such a crazy reveal. I've enjoyed The Amazing Race. There's been a few shows that I've enjoyed.
Yeah,
and someone
me
told
too.
me, yeah, you remember that couple that got to the third round? They weren't even going to be on the show originally, and then they got cast last minute. I'm like, whatever.
So, yeah. Actually, Drew, do you remember Brandi when she was on Celebrity Apprentice?
Yes.
Wasn't she fairly likable on that show?
Yeah, she was. She was okay.
Yeah. I don't know if
she's
she
gone
had a
kind of nutty.
contract or...
I think since she went into the housewife world, now she has to get into all kinds of beefs all the time.
Yeah. I remember she got into beef with Ian Ziering on The Apprentice.
Oh, my
It's
God.
Ian.
Oh, Ian, yeah.
Thank you, Brandon.
Thanks.
You'd appreciate that.
Mark, I might agree with you. I didn't have a problem with Brandi on this show, aside from the fact she couldn't talk or give a blowjob. But it was really Geraldine who comes off as a loser. And so my track 13, she explains the first day of shooting when she finds out she's on the show.
You have no contact.
They take the alarm clock. They take the phone out of the room.
I mean, they did that to me too.
Yeah.
But I knew I was shooting.
Yeah. At least you knew you were shooting. I didn't know that. Guy steps out. I start crying like crazy.
God, what an idiot.
Brandy's such a snob about it, too.
Yeah, Brandi's like, yeah, I know it sucked, but at least I knew I was going to be on the show. So that's why I did it. So it turns out this woman, Geraldine, was also supposed to be on the show called The Circle. Now, if you remember, The Circle was a British game show picked up by Netflix. And she lived in Manchester for a month and was never picked to be on the show. This is the second time this happened to her.
Oh, no.
So then she talks about how after they said, sorry, you didn't make the cut, we're going to start shooting today. And so for 3 days, she spent another 3 days there while they were shooting the show, because they're just like, in case someone gets COVID, we need somebody ready to go on deck. And she explains that she prayed to God and she manifested that she would get on the show. So God gave this guy COVID in order for Geraldine to get on the show.
He's also a big reality show TV viewer, God.
He works in mysterious ways, Mark. You grew up Catholic, you know.
It's only natural, though. Of course, you would pray people got COVID if you were in that position. I think that's pretty normal.
Right, yeah, of course. So my track number 14, the producers of the show pulled off a miracle because no one even knew she wasn't originally going to be on the show.
Oh, my God.
You come in, it looks like at the same time as all of us, which is a mind fuck for these people that are now hearing this, because you were a replacement. You came in, and because of that, because you didn't have anyone, you hadn't connected with anyone.
People were
like, let's get rid of her. We don't know her that well.
So she got booted right away.
She was the second one off the show. The second one up.
Boy, Brandi loves putting her in her place, doesn't she?
Good. She deserves it.
What a mind fuck that is. That we didn't even know that there were 2 days of shooting before she started on there. It was funny too, because you would think Brandi be an expert on the show that she was on. And so she goes, Geraldine, you were the first one off, right? She goes, no. She goes, oh, wasn't it the thing with the boat? She goes, I don't remember the boat. Like, they didn't know anything about the show at all. So if you're a fan of the show, you're listening to this, you're just like, Jesus, I know more about this show than these two women do. And they were on.
That is insulting to the viewer who actually watched it and now is listening to the podcast.
But the whole buildup was like, we're going to spill the tea on the traitors, the show we were on together, and it's the worst tea I've ever seen spilled. I guess
there's no booze in it for Brandi.
Yeah, I'm not impressed.
Karl, does this show have any audience, do you think?
I don't know, because you got to think that there are those women who love these reality shows, Desperate Housewives, things like that, and they're like, I need more. What else is out there? And so maybe they're checking out the podcast.
She has 2.3 thousand ratings, but it's a 3.7.
2,300 ratings.
The economy of the Real Housewives.
Yeah, the Real
It's
Housewives,
amazing.
I would think would bring it some audience,
Blows me
definitely.
away, yeah.
And The
That's a
Bachelor,
decent
too.
number of ratings, 2,700.
Yeah.
That's an audience.
Not bad.
But it sounds like a lot of people don't really like it very much. Okay, I got one more clip on here. One of my favorite things that happens on these podcasts is the fake ad break.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's going into the ad, but not really.
Oh, because there's no ad sold?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's getting more popular now because it takes some time for people to start
Right, to
watching
catch
it.
on.
Yes.
Were you the first to go?
No, second. Reza was the first one.
Oh, that's right.
It's so embarrassing.
And we're back.
So painful.
Thanks for sticking with us, everybody. All right. As we were saying.
Wait, is
Something like bumper
there-
music to take you to nothing and bring you out of nothing.
exactly?
Yeah.
Is there more than one fake ad break?
Yes, there's more than one fake ad break.
Oh, how
No.
embarrassing! So nobody wants to buy this show.
Well, maybe someday they will. Fingers crossed for them.
But why create the space for an ad break if it's debatable whether you're going to have one or not? I think can't you just create space? Because it didn't sound like they did it with the show. She didn't say, and we're back from the break when they came back. Didn't they just take some point and just slice it?
Yeah.
I've talked about this before, but I do dynamic ad insertion into my show. It sounds like you guys have been doing that lately too. And so what I do is I pick my spot usually right before Cringe of the Week, and I put in my little ad spot there, but I never say we're going to an ad break. I never say we're back. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, you'll never know that it was there.
Exactly. Yeah. That's how it's supposed to work.
Yeah, but the ad should be there.
I wonder if that's because in reality they just take a real break because they don't know what else to do or what else to talk, and it makes an ad. They can edit it that way and add that stupid music.
Maybe they want it to sound like it's a pro slick production.
But it sounds dumb.
Yeah,
it
There's
backfires.
a guy named Patty Pukewater, Patrick Michael, most prolific podcaster of all time. I've covered him many times on my show. And he does this on his show. And he'll be like, all right, we'll be right back. And then he'll just like fade up music and then he'll fade it back down again and be like, all right, so what else is going on? But I think it's because he wants to sound like he's a professional broadcaster and he thinks that's what you do. We'll be right back. Okay.
Yeah, he has trouble segueing from one subject to the next.
That's what I meant.
Maybe.
with him.
Yeah. Maybe that's what it is.
In that case, I have a feeling that there just aren't enough people that care about that show. That's going to be my guess on why that sounded that way.
You're probably right about that, Drew. I can't imagine people are interested in what they're talking about on here. But again, I don't follow these shows. I don't know The Trader. I don't know Real Housewives. Maybe it's fascinating for those people.
I have a feeling
Unlikely.
Brandi has better guests than this. Just a feeling.
Yeah, I mean, this was yesterday's episode. I just wanted to check out what she's up to right now. So I hope she does. But when I scrolled through, I didn't recognize any of the names. I'll put it that way.
It did sound a bit phoned in. That was the last cut?
That's it.
Okay,
That's what I
okay,
brought
okay.
for you today,
Cool.
guys. And I appreciate you having me on the show. We're getting really close to the Magic Bag. Of course, Eric Zane will be joining us at the Magic Bag on September 15th, as well as Cardiff and Tukey is announced. Tukey is going to be there.
Cardiff Electric's going to be there too.
Dr. Steve's coming too, right?
Dr. Steve's going to be there. And of course, we got Vinny, Paulino, Trucker Andy, Jenny Jingles, producer Chris. I think there's going to be more people on stage than there are watching the show.
Wow. Don't forget about
WATP.
Yeah, Ted Williams. So how many are big bunches of people going to go to the Michigan game and stuff?
I know I'm going. My wife and I and Mark are going. I'm excited about that.
Okay, so everybody's on their own.
Yes.
But they're going to hang out. They're going to hang out and party for a day, maybe.
Well, we're definitely going out Thursday night.
Oh, good. Okay.
I'm going to lay out my plan for you guys.
Let's hear this.
I hope I'm not giving too much inside baseball information. Speaking of baseball, Wednesday I'm going to roll into town.
Yeah.
Get the Tigers game. Assault the buffet. Looking forward to that.
Amen.
Thursday, I am planning on being in studio. Now,
yes.
Unless Drew cancels the show like he did last year,
no.
I'm planning on being live on the Drew and Mike show.
That will happen. That will absolutely happen.
With Lila in my lap. I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully, Lila likes me.
For sure. And then Friday, get ready for the show.
Well, Thursday night we're going to go out. We'll do we'll hit some local bar, maybe the Royal Oak again or something.
Yeah.
We'll hang out somewhere. We'll let everyone know where we're going to be. So everyone who's coming into town or everyone who lives in the area wants to come and hang out, we'll be around. Anybody who wants to hang out. Last time, Brandon and Drew were both hanging out. So we'll get a good crew together for that. And then Friday's the show.
Yeah, we had a nice dinner over on 4th Street. Yeah, Lily's. And then we went to Oak Street, and there's plenty of space over there if people want to hang out. No, that was fun. That was
last year was on a Friday, and this time's going to be a Thursday, so we should have even more space. Oh, no, maybe it was a Thursday.
It was a Thursday. That's why I couldn't go.
It was a Thursday, and that's right, because Vinny Paulino refused to hang out with us because the Dolphins were playing Thursday Night Football, and the bar that we went to didn't have the package to stream it, Amazon or whatever that you needed to have.
He was just standing in the streets looking into bars.
Oh, yeah.
Watching
the
games.
I saw him.
I'm like, Vinny, come hang out. We're all hanging out. He's like, no, I'm watching the Dolphins game on over there. Like, all right.
All right. No, sounds good. I can't wait. It's going to be a fun week for everybody. And there are just a few tickets. I really think they're down to a few tickets. I'm serious. So if you want to grab tickets, please grab them. It's probably a couple dozen, maybe.
Yes, that is true. I just got a count this morning. So yeah, just a couple dozen left, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. We had a blast last time. I know the recorded version of the show didn't come out as well as I'd hoped. I'm gonna fix that issue. So if you're planning on listening to the show, we will put it out as a regular episode, and we have a brand new episode that's out right now on Who Are These Podcasts. The Marijuana Happy Hour.
Oh, boy.
Starring a guy named Johnny Cush. Guys, I don't know if you know this. I'm in a radio war right now.
Yeah.
This guy has declared a radio war on me.
Carl, I listened to that. That was really funny. Who is this guy? He acts like he has some motivated audience of hundreds of thousands who are ready to attack Karl Hamburger. And it turns out that he actually has an audience of like 180.
Oh.
Yeah, so he declared that he talks to 200,000 people a night. So he's on this Blog Talk network where he does an internet radio show. So he goes back so far before even podcasting. He's like an internet radio show guy. And he thinks 200,000 people listen to him every night, and he can activate these people to put YouTube strikes against me and to mess with me and troll me and call into the show and ruin the show. So he says, if I don't stop broadcasting within a week, they're going to take me down and take me out completely.
Ooh.
Now, I did the math because Black Talk Network shows you how many episodes he's done and how many listens he has. And so I did a quick division problem and discovered that he averages 186 listeners per episode.
Oh, boy.
I might be all right.
He had some other really bodacious claims. I mean, what a nutcase. And he was talking about going to bars and trying to fuck listeners, too, wasn't he?
He's doing this tour. So he goes, guys, follow me. I don't know if it was Twitter or something. He goes, I'll let you know where I'm going to be. I'm going to be driving around Nevada, and we'll be stopping at bars and brothels, and everyone come and hang out. And I got a sack full of cash. I'm going to be handing out cash and also hugs. It was the most insane ramblings. He thinks he has this huge audience. He's like, can't wait to meet up with all the fans. No one knows who he is. No one's ever heard of him. This show is unlistenable. It's terrible.
It was
we
just,
spent a lot of time with him.
it was really weird. I mean, I was kind of concerned for him because he was talking about how, my dick's not really been working all that well, but I'm going to stop at the Bunny Ranch on the way, and then we're going to have tour stops in Nevada and as we go across the country, and hopefully, if somebody wants to make my thing work, I'm not beneath having sex with an audience member. It was what?
Yeah. So basically what happened, he just got out of rehab before he comes out and declares a radio war on me. He checked himself out of rehab. He's supposed to be in there for 28 days. After 14, he checked himself out. And the reason why, this is insane. The reason why he's in rehab is because he was on his OnlyFans and he was using this penis pump that malfunctioned and it ripped his penis open. He had to get stitches. So because he got stitches in his penis, he got on oxys and he got addicted to oxys. And then the doctor wouldn't refill his thing because he took them too quickly.
Yeah, too fast.
So then he had to get his buddy, the cab driver, to get him opiates. And the guy gave him morphine and he's shooting morphine into his stomach while drinking and smoking. And then he hallucinated and almost jumped off a 14-story building. So they brought him into rehab. This is the guy who's going to take me down.
He's taking you down. You're going down.
He seems very focused.
It seemed like some of those stories might have been exaggerated just a little bit, but we'll see.
I can't even imagine. I don't even know what's going on with this guy's life.
That's weird. And what is this blog, live blog rate? What is it? How do I listen to it?
Sounds like AM radio.
Yes, it's the audio quality was like AM radio, but if you go to blogtalkradio.com, and I pointed this out on my show, one of the reasons why you know it's not a great network is because in the main navigation it says, create your own radio show.
So they're looking for active people to join up.
Yeah.
It sounds like that thing Jonah Falcon was on, almost. Didn't he do something?
Yeah,
and then
that's
people
right.
could call him, and
Oh, it was hilarious. Yeah, wasn't Sal calling him from the Howard Stern show?
Yeah,
repeatedly?
Sal and Richard would
playing
call
this
him.
loud tone. That's right. That was great.
But this is the thing where he does do a live broadcast for an hour every night, I think Monday through Thursday. And it's like 12:30 Eastern time, 9:30 Pacific.
He brags about how much content he puts out, and he puts out an hour a week.
Yeah. No, an hour a day. It's 4 days a week.
Hour a day.
I'm going to check out Blog Talk Radio. I love bad radio, as long as people are trying hard. I really do enjoy listening to. Like small market radio has always been fun to listen to, because every now and then you hear somebody who, is just young and learning, and it just, I don't know, for some reason it makes me chuckle and smile.
Yeah.
But
I like the college stations. The only thing I listen to, if I'm listening to the FM now, there's certain shows on the college stations where there are these guys who have been around forever, and they spin old 50s and 60s.
They know music.
They still have like that style down, and they know the cool music. And I'm like, all right, this is fun. I can enjoy this. Plus, they play the Isotopes a lot, so I appreciate that.
All right, Karl, we'll be checking out who are these podcasts and who are these socials and who are these broadcasters until showtime, September the 15th. So have a great rest of the week.
Thank you very much, guys. It was good talking to you.
Thanks, Karl.
See you, Karl.